So I'd like to tell you about Pat Bracco. Pat Bracco is a guy they call Possible Pat. I actually recently saw his testimony video on YouTube. The dude weighed 605 pounds, and he was a bodyguard, and he was 6'8" tall. He weighed 605 pounds. He stepped on the scale, couldn't believe it. Went to the doctor and had all these tests taken, and the doctor said, "It's amazing, you're still alive." I mean, he was morbidly obese, and when he got this news from his doctor and he realized how much he weighed and he saw how unhealthy he was, he went home and first thing, he just fell into depression and went on a 2-week eating binge. I mean, he just gorged himself. It was like he was trying to commit suicide. But after 2 weeks, he took off all his clothes and he looked at himself in the mirror, and all of a sudden his willpower kicked in and he said, "I'm going to change. I'm going to change this. I'm going to fix this." Like all of a sudden, he had this burst of willpower, this burst of emotional and mental energy, and he was ready to make the change. Now, this is what is so important for Pat. The first thing he did, he knew his weakness was eating. The first thing he did was he went into his kitchen and he emptied out, literally, he took all of the food in his entire house and put it in the garbage. I mean, put it in garbage bags, took it out and threw it away. Garbage. Threw it away. Everything in his kitchen. The first decision he made was, I'm going to clear out of my home and out of my environment anything and everything that might trip me up. Anything and everything that might hinder the change that I intend to make in my life. The moment his willpower kicked in, the first thing he did was get rid of all of the stumbling blocks from his pathway. Just remove it, get rid of it, throw it away, throw it in the garbage, get rid of it. The question now is, what do you need to get out of your house? What do you need to get out of your life? What do you need to remove? What do you need to get out of your path? In other words, what could possibly trip you up that you need to do away with? Now, a great analogy of this is in the story of Joseph. Remember when Potiphar's wife kept trying to seduce him and entice him? Day and night she tried to seduce him and entice him. And at one day he was in the house and he was doing some work, and she was the only other one in the house. And she came and grabbed him by his shirt and said, "Lie with me." And he slipped out of his shirt and ran for his life. Just ran, left his garment in her hand. Joseph knew that he could not take his garment with him. He could not maintain his purity and his garment at the same time. And so he had to let it go. He had to slip out of that garment and get out of there. The question is, what is the garment that you need to leave in the hand of Potiphar's wife and get the heck out? What's the garment that you have to lose in order to make the change that you intend to make? You need to identify that garment and you need to get rid of it. You need to rid your house of it. You need to rid your life of it. And we tend to make excuses. We make all kinds of excuses for ourselves. Well, I paid good money for that food. Somebody else will eat it. No, throw that food away. It's like, well, I'm going to keep my Netflix subscription. I'm just not going to, watch these shows. Maybe you need to let your Netflix subscription go. It's like, well, I don't know, whatever it is, like there's 100 different manifestations of this, but whatever the temptation is, whatever it is that could possibly lure you back into your old pattern, into your old habit, if you don't remove that from your life, you're already setting yourself up to fail. It's like you're getting ready to run a marathon, but you already are going out and putting stumbling blocks in your way. It's like you're planning to stumble along the way. You need to make a decision like Pat did. Whatever it is that needs to be removed from my life, I'm going to remove it right now. So in the blank, here's what I want you to do. In the blank, I want you to write down not just one thing, but everything you possibly could think of that could possibly be a stumbling block in your path. I want you to write it down and say, I'm going to remove this from my life. And then here's what's crazy. Even though your willpower hasn't kicked in yet, let's say, you can already begin to remove that stuff from your life. You can already begin to remove that stuff from your house. And now you're not only preparing your mind and your heart for the change that's coming, but you're beginning to prepare your house already. It's like I'm not even ready for the change, but I'm preparing for the change. I'm getting ready for the change. I'm getting my house, I'm getting my environment, I'm getting the atmosphere of my world prepared for the change. Now, for some of you, what needs to be removed from your life is people. And I hate to say it that way, but there are people who will pull you back into your old pattern if you allow them to. For instance, if you're trying to break alcohol addiction and you've got a bunch of alcoholic friends, they are more than likely going to inadvertently and maybe even intentionally try to pull you back into their way of life. And if you think that you are strong enough to stand up against that temptation day in and day out indefinitely, you are not aware of the fact that you have limitations. And even after you break your bad habit, that pathway remains in the brain, which means that you will have an ongoing level of vulnerability in that area. That will be a place where you will always be weak. And it's not bad to be weak. It simply means that that's an area where you will have to continue to trust the Lord and depend upon people and have a plan, have a game plan and a battle plan that will enable you to walk in victory in that area. So write it down and then begin the process. I challenge you to begin to remove stuff from your life that would be a hindrance to the change that you intend to make. Go ahead.